World's most terrifying dictator. How does he rule his country? What does daily life look like in North Korea? You might feel suffocated while imagining it. The government tries its best to control every aspect of its citizens' lives. That who'll live where? Who'll do what? What will they study? Everything is decided by the government. Your clothes, your hairstyle, the movies you watch. The government tells you all of it. Your phone's operating system would take a screenshot at a random time, and the screenshot is sent to the government so that they know what you watch on your phone. For a crime committed by any person, even his grandchildren might be punished. The law of guilt by association. Even the members of a family distrust each other. They can't talk to their siblings, parents, or children without fear. Despite this, over the last few years, Kim Jong-un's hold has been weakening. A silent revolution is underway, led by North Korean women. Hello, friends. In 1981, a pregnant woman was imprisoned in North Korea's political prison camp number 14. The woman gave birth in the jail. She named her child Shin Dong-hyuk, and this boy grew up in jail. The thing is, the North Korean government believes in the concept of guilt by association. If a person commits a political crime, his entire family is jailed. The punishment for one's deeds has to be borne by 3 generations. That is, if someone's grandfather commits a crime, then the grandson will also go to jail. That is why Shin Dong-hyuk grew up in jail, because the North Korean government believed that his blood had become impure. He spent his childhood in jail, in terrible condition. He was given only a little corn porridge to eat. He had to eat grass and rats just to stay alive. There were around 20,000 prisoners in this prison camp, and the rules of the camp were very simple. If you try to run away, you would be shot to death. If you hear someone planning about running away, but do not report it, you would be executed as well. One day, when Shin Dong-hyuk was 13 years old, he heard his mother and brother making a plan to escape the jail. He did not understand much. He was young and hungry. So he went and told the guards, hoping that the guards would give him some extra food. 7 months later, the inmates were gathered in the ground, and Shin Dong-hyuk was made to stand at the front. And then, in front of his eyes, the prison guards executed his mother by hanging, and his brother by shooting. Shin Dong-hyuk was forced to see all of it, after which, for 6 months, he was mercilessly tortured. In 2005, at the age of 23, Shin Dong-hyuk tried to flee the prison camp. Luck was on his side. He was successful. Escaping the guards' eyes, he somehow fled North Korea and reached China, and then went to South Korea. And this is why the world got to know his story. Later, Shin became a human rights advocate. His voice reached even the United Nations, and a famous book was written on him, Escape from Camp 14.
In the Bible, you read about heaven and hell, and where in hell, those have to live amongst the flames. That's what the prison camp was like.
Based on stories revealed by survivors like Shin, in this video, let's understand, how does daily life look like in North Korea? How do common people spend their lives in the world's most terrifying dictatorship? The population of North Korea is about 25 million. On the world map, you can locate it just above South Korea. In the west, it has the giant China. And if you look at the satellite imagery of this map at night, you will see something very strange. You can see China and South Korea glittering with light. But here in the middle, there's only darkness. This is the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, DPRK. That's the official name of North Korea, and interestingly, the name of their country has the word democratic. This should tell you that merely calling yourself democratic doesn't actually make you a democratic nation. In North Korea, people can't read at night, can't watch TV. They go to sleep at 7 in the evening because they are accustomed to living in the dark. In 1995, The population of frogs was slowly declining in North Korea. Later, people realized that the people there were so hungry that they started hunting frogs. The famine in North Korea between 1995 and 1998 was one of the biggest man-made catastrophes. The exact number of people who died of starvation was never revealed, but it is estimated that 500,000 to 2 million people died in this. But the amazing thing is that North Korea's situation wasn't always like this. There was a time when North Korea was more successful than South Korea. In 1980, in terms of per capita GDP, North Korea was ahead of both India and China. Here, everyone got facilities like free healthcare, education, housing, heating, and transport. Between 1950 and 1980, North Korea's GDP increased by approximately 4.5% every year. But their problems arose during the 90s, when the Soviet Union broke apart.
In Moscow, the hammer and sickle is lowered for the last time, and an era comes to an end.
The Soviet Union used to provide cheap oil and food to North Korea. After the collapse of the USSR, North Korea's economy crashed horribly. Power stations shut down, power went out, and people started starving to death. The USA offered to help North Korea on the condition that it shuts down its nuclear weapons program. But they refused to do so. So the USA and the rest of the world isolated them. In August 1995, there was a heavy flood, and North Korea had neither cash nor credit. But at the same time, they didn't have the humility to compromise to help their people. The situation worsened year by year, and the North Korean government focused the most on trying to cover up. Their capital city is Pyongyang. Here, to present itself as a model of stable socialism, they removed all homeless and starving people from the city. The ruling party workers living here were given all the facilities, but the situation outside the city was terrible. People in rural areas starved to death. Andrew Natsios describes in his book The Great North Korean Feminine how North Korean families let their elderly relatives starve to death so that the young family members could get food and survive. Many grandparents chose to starve to death so that their children could survive. This was happening because North Korea was a tightly controlled dictatorship, a totalitarian dictatorship. When America, Britain, and the Soviet Union defeated countries like Japan and Germany during World War II, Japan's occupation of the Korean Peninsula came to an end. And the US and the Soviet Union decided to divide the country into two. North Korea was put under the Soviet Union's influence, and the South went to the USA. They did the same with Germany. After defeating Hitler in World War II, Germany was also divided into two parts. East Germany under the Soviet Union's influence, and West Germany under the US's. And so North Korea was influenced by the Soviet Union. They adopted the same ideologies. It became a communist state, and the guerrilla leader who fought against Japan, Kim Il-sung, became the first supreme leader of the country. Since then, this family has ruled the country. Today, Kim Il-sung's grandson, Kim Jong-un, is the supreme leader and dictator of the country. It won't be right to call this country a communist dictatorship, because this is a family-led dictatorship. Everything the government of this country does, it is to continue the Kim family's rule. The government makes all effort to control every aspect of people's personal lives. Who will live where, what work will they do, where will they study? Everything is decided by the government. Apart from this, what people watch on TV, things they get to access on the internet, the places they travel to, their hairstyles, every single thing is controlled by the government. Right from schools. School education is free in their country, and it is mandatory to go to high school. Those who don't attend school are punished. But the problem is that there's no education in school. Teachers pay attention to a child only after taking bribes, and that's why those who have money hire a personal tutor at their home.
It is a privilege to be allowed to live in Pyongyang, and it is an even greater privilege for your kids to attend an institution like this.
There aren't many videos of schools of North Korea. The videos on the screen are of the schools their government wants to present to the world. The elite of the elite schools. After school, students' family background and bribery help them get admission to a college. After college, men have to serve in the military compulsorily. This can last for up to 10 years. Talking about the political system, even thought it is a dictatorship. There are parliamentary elections in North Korea every 5 years. The only thing is, only a candidate from the ruling Workers' Party can contest from each seat. And if someone votes against this, they will be considered a traitor. If you do this, their secret police will reach your house and will declare you mad. What is this secret police? Let's talk about this later in the video. This is why the voting percentage in North Korea is more than 99.9%. Almost every person votes here. The government considers voting as an unofficial census and uses it to maintain control over the people. In North Korea, the government decides the kind of clothes people can wear, their hairstyles. They have a list of approved hairstyles. For now, only 15 hairstyles have been approved for men and 15 for women. You can see this photo from a 2017 news article. This shows the 15 hairstyles approved for men. If you want to get a haircut in North Korea, you'd need to choose one of these 15 hairstyles. One thing you'll notice is that dictator Kim Jong-un's haircut is not on this approved list because no one else is allowed to have that hairstyle. No one else in North Korea can wear the same glasses as he does. People in this country can't even dye their hair because there is a ban on dyeing. Additionally, in terms of clothes, blue jeans, ripped jeans, and skinny jeans are also banned. Apart from this, branded clothes are also banned because they are seen as an effect of Western culture. Tight dresses, short skirts, and sun hats are also not allowed for girls. Apart from these rules, your clothes cannot be influenced by Western culture in any way. Women cannot wear red lipstick. Makeup is also seen as a Western influence, so only minimal makeup is allowed. Now, after hearing so many rules, you might be wondering who will implement these rules. For this, friends, North Korea has a fashion police. I am not joking. If a person tries to break these rules, then he will have to face the fashion police. The fashion police keeps a watch over the people secretly. Whoever wears clothes against the rules, their clothes are cut. Some people have to pay fines, and some even get jailed. Why does a government want to control a person's dressing style so much? The reason behind this is that their government sees fashion as a cultural invasion. They believe that if this Western capitalist lifestyle gets into their country, it will be a threat to the country. They are afraid that if people start liking foreign things, they will stop liking their country. The North Korean government is so serious about this issue that in 2005, they made a propaganda series about hairstyles. Let's trim our hair in accordance with a socialist lifestyle. This propaganda series claimed that having long hair is unhealthy, and it reduces a person's intelligence. In North Korea, development of new products and services for the common citizens is next to none. Compared to our country, where technological progress, like UPI, has grown well, their progress is next to none in every sector. In any country with progress, technological services grow as well. The next aspect of this totalitarian ideology is controlling people's movement. People cannot go from one part of the country to another. For this, they have to get the government's permission and tell them the purpose of doing so. This is just domestic travel. But if someone wants to travel internationally, if they want to go visit another country, there is a stricter ban on it. No one can go abroad without the government's permission. And going abroad without permission is considered a traitorous act. If someone does this, their entire family can be punished with forced labor, torture, life imprisonment, and even death. The story of Shin Dong-hyuk that I told you at the beginning of this video. Do you know why his entire family was locked up in this prison camp? Because Shin Dong-hyuk's uncle had fled to South Korea. and so many generations of his family was jailed in this prison camp. Their government is so serious about this that after COVID, the border guards were given a shoot-at-sight order for anyone they caught leaving or entering the country without permission. Due to this order, 14 people were shot to death. But despite knowing the dangers, people keep trying to flee the country. Most people flee to China because the land border to China is easier to navigate. But China is a dictatorship too, and the Chinese government hands over these escapees back to North Korea. Look at this news from 2023. China deported around 500 people back to North Korea. In terms of entertainment, no foreign movies are released in North Korea. There are only government channels on TV and radio to help support the government's propaganda.
The morning broadcast begins with the national anthem and tributes to North Korea's former rulers. There are cartoons, news programs praising the regime, and of course, the star of the show. Kim Jong-un is presented as a god, provoking fan frenzies, reminiscent of Taylor Swift, a man of the people, even braving floodwaters, narrowly dodging tree branches to rescue his citizens.
Watching foreign shows and movies is a serious crime. Those who are caught face severe punishment. Look at this news from 2022. For watching a South Korean drama and distributing it, 2 teenagers were sentenced to 12 years of hard labor. Imagine a child who wants to watch a South Korean movie being put in jail for 12 years because it's a crime. There's another news from 2022 where watching and sharing South Korean films and music led to a young man being shot to death publicly. But despite this, there is a severe lack of entertainment in the country that people secretly smuggle South Korean dramas. You will find South Korean movies in the local black market. Earlier, they used to sell DVDs. People bought old Chinese DVD players to watch these shows at home. To catch them, government authorities would cut off electricity randomly. Electricity being cut off meant that the CD or DVD would be stuck. It could not be removed from the DVD player. They used this opportunity to enter people's home in the dark and would forcefully open the DVD players to check the DVD which was playing. With time, people started using USB sticks, and it's much easier to hide them.
Even though North Koreans lack internet connections, they can watch smuggled movies and TV shows on their computers or on Chinese video players with USB ports like these called Notel.
While watching these foreign shows and movies, people turn off the lights and windows in their homes so that even the neighbors can't see them, and at a barely audible volume. Talking about the Internet in North Korea is extremely limited. To use it, you have to get government's permission. After getting permission, a librarian sits between every 2 people to keep an eye on what you are searching on the Internet. Every 5 minutes, the computer's screen freezes, and to further use the Internet, the librarian's fingerprint is needed. A person can use the Internet for only 1 hour, and if he needs an extension, he needs to take the government's permission again. For the common people, the North Korean government has created an internal Internet. You can think of it as an intranet. People use this Internet on their phones and computers where everything is controlled. The exact websites that are available on the Internet. The government specifically selected each of them, and there are only a few websites on it. Apart from this, it is so expensive that most people cannot afford to use it. There is no form of social media in North Korea. People did try to clone websites like Facebook and Netflix, but those attempts failed. The smartphones sold there are unimaginably censored. You cannot place any international call on those phones. At a random time, the phone's operating system takes a screenshot. This screenshot is sent to the government so that they can see exactly what you are doing on your phone. Apart from this, the software coding of these smartphones is such that only government-approved content would be shown. There is no app store to download the apps approved by the government. Even for that, people need to go to a physical store. Can you imagine how suffocating the lives of the people living in this country are? In terms of religion, North Korea is officially an atheist country. People have no freedom to practice or preach any religion. It is punishable by death. Christians are specifically targeted here because they are seen as being influenced by America. Thousands of Christians are locked in political prison camps and are tortured. In 2009, a woman named Ri Hyen Ok was executed publicly for distributing the Bible. Her husband and 3 children were then sent to a political prison camp. In North Korea, the Kim family has become something akin to a religion. Especially, North Korea's first supreme leader, Kim Il-sung, and the second supreme leader, Kim Jong-il. Both of them are worshipped like gods. There are pictures and statues of these 2 leaders at every home, office, school, and other public places. Anywhere you go in North Korea, you will feel like you are being watched by these 2 leaders, as if they're the big brother from George Orwell's novel, 1984. The secret police goes to every house to check, and if their pictures are not found in your home, then you can be prosecuted. People have to protect these pictures and statues even if it means putting their own lives in danger. If someone does not do this, they will face a proceeding. There was a case in 2020 where instead of protecting their pictures from her burning house, a woman saved her children. The woman had to undergo an investigation, and the government refused to give medicines to these 2 children in hospital. Let's see another case. A person reported that when his father soiled an image of Kim Jong-il in a newspaper by mistake, his father was sent to a political prison camp. In North Korea, the economic condition of the common people is terrible. 69% of the population is so poor that they do not have money for basic necessities like 2 square meals, clean water, education, and hospitals. Most of the houses do not have things like a fridge, washing machine, and cycle to help them in their daily lives. A major reason for this is that in North Korea, almost all men have to do government-assigned jobs. They still get their salary at the rate set before the 1990s. You will be surprised to know how much that is. It's equivalent to getting about 7 to 9 kilograms of corn every month. They can buy only 7 to 9 kilograms of corn with their monthly salary. In 2014, a doctor who fled North Korea said that doctors get a monthly salary of 3,500 won, which can't even get them 1 kilogram of rice. Because the men earn so little, most families in North Korea is run by women. Married women aren't forced to do government-assigned jobs, so they work at the local market to earn money. The local markets are called jangmadang. Women account for more than 70% of the household's income. When the government couldn't provide food to the people after the 1990s, people took the matter in their own hands and started looking for ways to earn money. Local black markets started popping up everywhere. People went there to sell things and used that money to feed their families. People did whatever they could to make some money to feed their families and survive. Gradually, these markets settled down, and now you can get everything from food and drugs to illegal USBs of South Korean films at these markets. These markets, known as jangmadang, are now the main source of household income in North Korea. Because most men are busy with government-assigned jobs, these black markets are run by women mostly. These markets are used as information hubs about other countries. Here, people find out about the freedom in the rest of the world, about the better quality of life provided by countries to their citizens as compared to North Korea. And so, with time, many people are getting disillusioned with their country in North Korea. Based on people's political loyalty, the country has been divided into 3 classes. First, there are the core classes, the loyalists. Second, wavering, those who are unsure and are suspected. And third, hostile, those considered enemies of the government. Look at this document from the United Nations. It is referred to as the Songbun system. Who will live where? What will be their occupation? How much food will they get from the government, healthcare, education, and all other facilities? All of this is decided by songbun. In North Korea, even marriages are decided by songbun. For example, their capital, Pyongyang. The government spends most of its resources and money there, so that it can be window dressed beautifully. So, the people living there are usually from the core class. The people from the hostile class aren't allowed within a 50 kilometers radius of this city. The people suspected by the government are often spied on by the family members working for the government. Hostile citizens are made to spy on each other. Because of this, people do not tell anything to their family members because they can't trust anyone, as everyone is a potential spy. A similar case happened where a woman was sent to a political prison camp for 10 years because her daughter-in-law told an officer that the woman was planning to run away from the country with her son. If a member or relative of a family commits any political crime, the entire family's songbun class is demoted. Another big problem faced by North Koreans is forced labor, a kind of modern-day slavery. From construction to farms, mines, and factories, people are forced to work for 12 to 18 hours. The situation is so dire that North Korea's entire economy relies on forced labor, because most of the money is spent on making weapons. Most of the forced labor is done by people locked up in detention centers and political prison camps. North Korea's law makes prisoners work hard. Even the accused are punished with years of forced labor. If you are a North Korean and you have do anything wrong against their dictator, even unknowingly, not only will you be punished for it, but also your entire family. Here, they apply the concept of guilt by association. If a person commits any political crime, then his entire family is put in prison camps. Up to 3 generations of the family can be imprisoned in these camps. That is, if someone's grandfather does anything wrong, every grandchild will have to bear the consequences. And in these jails, the conditions of these political prisoners are much worse than that of the other citizens. According to Jong Kyungil, 30 to 40 prisoners are housed in a room of 50 square meters. There are 5 to 6 prison camps in North Korea now, where a total of 80,000 to 120,000 people are said to be imprisoned. The prisoners are often starved to death here. They are forced to work 16 to 18 hours in mines and farms. In return, they get so little food that the prisoners, dependent solely on the ration, starve to death. Approximately 40% of the prisoners die of hunger in their prison camps. To avoid starvation, the prisoners often eat things like grass, rats, and snakes. They don't even waste food crumbs that fall on the ground. Look at this page of the document. Some prisoners even eat the fodder for pigs. That's how bad the situation is. But none of this is actually allowed. Once, there was a case where a 7-year-old girl ate some grains that had fallen on the road, so a guard beat her to death. In political prison camp number 15, a prisoner was executed in front of the others for stealing potatoes from the field. Most of the prisoners who try to escape are either killed by the guards or by the electric current passing through the fences. Shin Dong-hyuk's friend was also killed by this current. That evening, the two of them were sent near the fence to collect firewood. They decided to run away at the first chance. Shin Dong-hyuk's friend reached the fences first, and while trying to pass through a hole in the fence, he was struck by the electric current and was killed. And his body stopped the flow of the current. And so Shin Dong-hyuk could successfully pass through the same hole.
And in the process, a fellow inmate who ran next to me died when he got electrocuted by the perimeter fence. And my skin got burnt as well.
A former guard, Myung Cole, said that in case of a war or a revolution, the guards are ordered to kill all prisoners in the camp, so that all the evidence of the presence of these camps can be erased. In Germany, Hitler's Nazi government did the same for their concentration camps at one point. That is why in an inquiry by the United Nations it was said that North Korea's leadership is violating the human rights of its own citizens on such a large scale, such that it is unprecedented in the modern world. And its crimes against humanity are very similar to the crimes committed by the Nazis. Now, the North Korean government sends its people to work in places like Russia, China, the Gulf nations, Poland, and Africa. There too, they are exploited like slaves. About 100,000 North Koreans are sent for forced labor and slavery to other countries. Look at this news. To fight in the Russia-Ukraine war, North Korean soldiers went sent on Russia's behalf. The biggest enemy of the North Koreans is the secret police. Of all the major human rights violations in this country, this secret police is the root cause of it all. From making people disappear to torturing them in political prison camps, it's all done by the secret police. The agents, spies, and informants of this agency is everywhere in NK. This secret police forces people from the lower Songbun, or the hostile class, into spying on each other. Because of this, in their society, people can't trust each other. People are suspicious of others, because anyone can be a spy. That's why they don't talk about sensitive issues. Not even in front of their family. Secret police has divided every area into groups of 30 to 40 houses. And each group has a neighborhood association that keeps tabs on people and encourages them to spy on others. Everything that happens in the association is a top secret or an ultimate secret. In 2002, when the North Korean government's telephone book leaked, it didn't even have the phone numbers of the secret police officers. Because this book was classified as a secret, not top secret. This organization is so secretive that the public doesn't even know the names of its chiefs. After hearing all this, now you would be able to understand how the cruelty of this dictatorship has been going on in this country for so long. This dictatorship has lasted over 75 years. It's still going strong today, and no one knows how long the people living here would go through this. There are three main reasons behind this. First, cruelty. For even the small mistakes, people are sentenced to death. Such fear has been instilled in people that they would think twice before making any mistakes. People live in constant fear. They witnessed how Kim Jong-un had his own uncle killed. They know how cruel this person can be. People know that even the smallest act can land their entire family in the prison camp. The second reason is their three-class Songbun system. The entire country has been divided into three classes, with their loyalists being at the top. As soon as the suspect someone, their entire family is moved to the lowest class. And the loyalists are kept happy so that they continue to remain loyal. Third reason, never-ending propaganda. In North Korea, people are surrounded by propaganda right from birth. From school to college, they have been told hundreds of stories of how their supreme leader is like God. They are told numerous false stories to present their dictator as God. A similar story is that when Kim Jong-un came into power, it was said that he learned to shoot a gun when he was only 3 years old, and learned to ride a horse at the age of 5. Some stories are even more unrealistic. There's a story that when Grandpa Kim Il-sung asked his grandson Kim Jong-un to bring an apple, Kim Jong-un asked for a shovel because he wanted to bring his grandpa the entire tree. The news in this country is just an extension of government propaganda. Any news they run simply praises the government. And if they decide to show any news from other countries or world news, then it is always presented in a negative manner. People in North Korea are shown that the situation in the rest of the world is worse. People are suffering because of corruption, diseases, and various disasters. On the other hand, people living in North Korea are the happiest and luckiest people because they are led by their great leader Kim Jong-un. This propaganda is used to brainwash people, which makes it easier to control them. But no matter how powerful and scary a dictatorship is, it won't last forever. And even in North Korea, there are clear indicators that Kim Jong-un's grip is getting weaker. The biggest indicator is the rise of jangmadang, the small black markets run by women. Ju Young, who left North Korea in 2010, said that in the beginning, the government wanted to put a stop to these markets. Back then, the government used to confiscate everything. But with time, these markets grew so rapidly and became an integral part of people's lives that almost every North Korean started trading in it. Even the strong North Korean government could not stop it and started feeling powerless. This led to a huge currency reevaluation in 2009 that they tried to take away people's private wealth and to strengthen their control. But it proved to be the wrong move. Even in a country like North Korea, there was the public outrage was so strong that the government had to apologize and take a few steps back. The simple reason behind this was unity. The government could not divide the people on this issue. They could not make them spy on each other. That's why they failed. Through these markets, over the last few years, the influence of foreign media and foreign films among people has risen exponentially. The false propaganda that the government used to fool people is shattering like glass with the exposure to foreign media. This is Ju Young, who left North Korea in 2010. South Korean dramas helped her see through the propaganda. She got to see a world whose existence she couldn't even have imagined. It has become easier to do this using USB sticks. There are two interesting data points here. 81% of North Koreans who left the country had an access to USBs. And 98% North Koreans who had USBs were carrying illegal media in them that went against their government. The majority of the people are now gradually finding out the truth about the outside world because North Koreans engage in these illegal activities together at these markets. This is becoming a new way of developing trust among people. The government system of spying, the system of creating suspicion and distrust among family members, is failing because of this. Shimon Ha, who escaped North Korea in 2013, said that he used to watch foreign movies with his friends. And because your friend is watching these foreign movies with you, you know that you can trust him. And this trust is sowing seeds of unity among the people. And the last reason that is weakening Kim Jong-un's grip is corruption. At the beginning of this video, I told you how families have to bribe teachers to get their children proper education. Bribery has become a way of life in North Korea. Government officials also rely on these bribes for their own income. Do you know what this means? People are no longer afraid of these strict dictatorial rules imposed by the government because they can see that they can do any illegal activity merely by paying bribes. These factors are only in their early years. I hope that in the next 10 to 20 years, we will hear some positive news from North Korea regarding this. Every dictatorship, every dictator sows the seeds of its own destruction like this. Let this be a lesson for all of us, to teach us the importance of freedom. Never turn against your fellow countrymen for any politician or political party. In any country or society, the unity of the masses is the most important. The second lesson here is to never hand over the power to your life to any government authority. The way you dress, the things you eat, the hairstyle you have, the kind of movies you watch, should be your own choices. No government authority should have the power to dictate what you can and can't do. I hope this was informative for you. And if you like this video, please make sure to like and share the video and subscribe our channel. Thank you.